I have a confession to make, and it's kind of a big one. I say that I'm a G-Shock fan, but in actuality, I only own two kinds of G-Shocks. I own a square, well, a few of them, and a couple Casios. That's it. And I honestly feel like a bit of a fraud. I mean, how am I supposed to call myself a G-Shock fan if I don't like any other G-Shocks? I mean, that has to be a little bit hypocritical. So let me take you on a journey to the post office. Okay, it is a big boy. First impressions, it's actually pretty cool. It's got a nice big screen. Backlight's not visible in the daylight, but I love that there's a button there. Easy to cycle through. Big adjust, start, stop, split. This watch has no real frills to it. It's a pretty straightforward watch. I guess that's the appeal of these things. They're super affordable. You can get the black version Canadian for like $90. This one, $135. Special edition. Should I have spent less money? Just got the black one? I guess we'll find out. It's got a nice metal buckle, and I like the red accented keeper. That's pretty cool. Looks pretty pliable. Let's check it out on wrist. Okay, it is beefy, does have a lot of presence. I dig that yellow. I'm gonna wear it, then I'll get back to you. See you in the future. This watch is ridiculous. Ridiculously awesome. It is billed as a nod to the 90s, as we are told to go retro with a 90s inspired colorful sporty G-Shock from the 90s Sport series. Honestly, as a Gen Xer, in the 90s I was more into wearing black and plaid, inspired by the mournful nihilism of the grunge scene than I was sporting Saved by the Bell yellow. But according to G-Shock, this design is a shout out to the original 1994 hit color scheme of the DW001, and it definitely makes a statement. But before we get to that, I want to take a closer look at what this watch is all about in general, because this is my first non-square, non-Casio watch ever. If I'm really honest, I was not a fan of this design from afar. And yet this very popular design has made its way into media and has spawned dozens of special editions, including versions by Bamford and John Mayer that go for ridiculous prices on the secondary market. I've always wondered, what's the appeal? But now that I have one in hand, I think I get it. It is big, it is bold, it is tough. It's 50 millimeters across, and it's 53.2 lug to lug, but you really do have to take those dimensions with a grain of salt. It's 18.7 millimeters thick, so it's nice and chunky. The case, bezel, and strap are made of resin. It has a mineral crystal. It has an electroluminescent backlight with afterglow, and it has this really cool flash alert that is just so much fun to watch. It has the basic goodies you'd expect in any Casio, let alone a G-Shock. In addition to telling you the time, date, and giving you some alarms, it also has a countdown timer and a stopwatch. The accuracy is plus or minus 15 seconds per month, and you're going to get about 2 years on that CR 2016 battery, and it's nice and light at 67 grams. Taking a closer look, the DW6900Y has a lot of writing on the case and the dial, like most G-Shocks in recent memory. Some of it is illegible to me without magnification, but the pertinent info is easy to read, like the adjust, mode, start and stop functions. It really makes you wonder if anyone over 40 works at G-Shock. The colors are a bold but attractive mix of gray, red, and of course, yellow. The silver buttons are easy to depress, all except the adjust button, but that's by design. The light button is a huge plus, as it is easy to find and depress, and provides a nice big rectangle upon which to display the G-Shock G. And a light button is a must, as this bare bones version does not have auto light, which is a real shame. The positive display is bright and clear for a basic unit. Not as crisp as some of the more expensive metal versions, for example, but I don't think anyone would complain. Wait, I take that back. Watch enthusiasts will complain about anything. It has these 3 eyes above the display that are fun to look at, but not much more. The 2 smaller dials count 5 seconds in succession, followed by 10-second increments on the larger eye on the right. The band is pliable below the taper, and the red keeper is a really nice nod to the 80s watch by which it is inspired. But it culminates in a silver steel buckle, and here you have to scratch your head. Why silver? It's so out of place. What are they matching? The buttons? The screws? The screw down case back? It is puzzling to say the least. Now overall it is a great looking watch, but it may not be a great wearing watch, and that depends on your wrist size and shape. On my 8.5-inch wrist, the corrugated upper portion of the strap sort of wings outwards and then applies pressure back on the buckle, meaning that if I wear it loose, it is comfortable but then sits off the wrist. But if I wear it tighter, it sits lower on the wrist but squeezes in an uncomfortable way. I've opted for looser, which means it buckles up near the end of the strap, which is not optimal in terms of comfort or aesthetics. All that said, I really like this watch, and I'm glad that I checked out more than just a Square or a Casio G-Shock. But I think the positive feels has more to do with the retro 90s vibe than the watch itself. It is a little too big. Like, why is it so big when it has just a basic module? It has no solar, no real useful subdials, no auto glow, color matched buckle. It is totally, absolutely ridiculous. Yet, it's ridiculously awesome. It makes me smile. I keep throwing it on the wrist, especially when at home, and I can see it remaining as a keeper in the collection. It also makes me want to check out the GW6900, which has tough solar and multi-band 6, plus actually useful subdials, although you will pay more for the pleasure. In the meantime, I can recommend this model in general and this colorway in specific so long as you are comfortable with the downsides that I have mentioned. And it has led me to try out even more G-Shock models outside of the Square and Casio lineups, so stay tuned for future videos. And if you want one of these totally radical 90s G-Shocks for yourself, do hurry, because this is a special themed series that, like Kurt Cobain, will be gone before you know it. If you found this video to be entertaining or educational, why not check out one of these great videos down below for more watch content.